And there. Let's play some hockey. It's Gouche Live featuring Paul Rosen. A little bit of a slow start there. Hey, brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News.
And the great people at Paramount Sports Management, Jeff Armroll.
I was just there with them, looking good. They're following the rules. 1 coach, 9 players.
Beauty.
What's going on today, bud?
Nothing. I've got my baseball in my hand. On the
listen.
chance that baseball might start back up again. I don't understand how. The Jays are at the Rogers Center training as we speak. I just don't know how it's going to happen, Gooch.
Baseball's been very, very good to me.
Yeah.
I was an all-star second baseman at the age of 14. And I think I told you this one time. I thought I was good. Everybody thinks they're good at one thing or another. And I was at the high level of my AAA. Everything was going great. And I met the coach from my baseball team maybe 10 years ago in Calgary. For some reason, I can't remember his name. I don't think he's no longer with us. And he said, Gouche, you were a hell of a baseball player. You could have maybe made pro.
Cool.
I'm just telling you because he told me that.
Right.
Conrad. What was this? God, he was a really cool dude. Hey, listen.
A lot of good crossover guys. A lot of guys that good hockey can throw a ball and yeah. Hey, I didn't think I was that good. I was okay hitter, but I was remember they wanted to move me from second base to shortstop, and I just loved the turning that double play. That was my big deal. I really liked running to the bag and throwing it over to first. Yeah, good second baseman. When I played ball, I was a catcher.
I could see that.
That's how I had my success in sled hockey as a goalie. Catching in baseball and goalie and sled hockey, very, very similar.
Because you remind me of Greg Zahn.
I love Johnny. Good guy.
Johnny, yeah, absolutely. Robert, what's going on? Awesome. I got back about 15 minutes ago, and you're on. We are on because we were to have our friend Murphy Hockey Law, James Murphy, was going to be here right at 3:30, one of our all-time favorites. We're going to do more of this. We're going to make sure he's a fixture every Wednesday. We've got Talking with Taylor on Saturday, and I'm going to bring in some more just to add a little color to our show. So Robert Wine, thank you for being with us. And look at this. All the way from Sydney, Australia.
Oh, he's
Jordan Kolachek.
Hey, JK, he's back. He made it home, eh?
I told JK, listen, if you didn't get on the flight and you came back to our house, there would be a sign that says, what would it have said?
Moved. Call Jeff, moved.
So Jeff Potter texted me and said, which Jeff?
Yeah. I guess it was overall, eh?
Great to hear you're home there, Jordan, buddy. Thanks for all the craziness. And you know what? I think we've got our buddy already. James is in the house.
What is my brother saying? Chico Escuela. What is that? Baseball. Yeah. Oh, baseball been very, very good to me. That was a skit on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, baseball been very, very good to me. Yeah. We're just gonna wait for him to pull his video up. He's looking good. Mr. Paul, lots of stuff going on tonight. I'm going to owe our friend Val $2 because there's actually going to be a baseball. MLS is going on tonight.
Well, until they start it, don't give him his money yet until they start it. I heard that Dallas team is pull themselves right out of the equation.
Yes, sir. And I heard the Vancouver team is not going to have one of their star players. So we'll talk a little bit about that on another show at the end of the weekend, because I'm going to be talking to our friend. We'll talk to Shoppy, our European correspondent, about soccer and wrap up over in in Germany. And then we'll talk about what's going on here in North America.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. An absolute lot going on. Not 100% sure what these sports are thinking, but they want to.
We're going to bring James on.
Bring him on.
He has no video. He's in his car, but it's always great to hear that radio voice. James Murphy. Murphy's
What's up, guys?
Law. What's going on?
How are you?
Murphy,
yeah, sorry, Paul.
Murph, are you wearing a hat, or are you just because we can't see you?
I'm wearing my hat, right now. I'm just coming home from my daughter's. And,
no problem.
I don't know what it is, guys. I got to tell you that every time I'm supposed to go on with you, I get a call from Bill Daly.
It's all right, tell us.
So I'm going to tell you I'm going to give you some good news right now.
Okay.
And it sounds like that the owners are unanimously voting yes to approve the new CBA and the return to play. So now we'll just await the players, who will announce it on Friday. And if they say yes to both, obviously a lot of other things got to fall into place, but the plan goes in motion, and training camp will start Monday. So it really looks like things are a go. But again, like you guys were just saying, I was listening to you in backstage there. I mean, we're all at the mercy of the coronavirus, and I think some people are forgetting that. So that.
Hey, Murph.
Yeah.
Does that mean if it's ratified and everything's going and it gets a 4-year extension and all that we hear about, does that mean that 2022 the NHL is back in China?
It does, 22 and 26. So they will go to, Beijing, I think, in China, and then they're going to go to, I believe it's Milan, Italy. So maybe Gouche could tell us about that. I'm sure he's played or been over in those neck of the woods in Europe from his days there. But, if I'm still covering a game, I'd love to go over there, I'll tell you that.
We'll try and organize something. Of course, it's a long way away. We still could be in this panic mode with, we haven't passed go on our Monopoly game. Listen, Milan, Italy would be absolute. Obviously, they won't only play the games in Milan, but Milan, Italy would be absolutely fantastic. Any place in Europe hosting the Olympics, but having NHL players there, my goodness, it would be just absolutely rock starish. And of course, Paul, I was in Beijing. I think it's very, very important after this pandemic and everything kind of sorts itself out. And we all pray that it's all settled by then, which with a vaccine, things should clear this stuff up. It will be huge for the NHL to present itself to the world again. Your thoughts on that?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. And Beijing in 2022 will
maybe Saps and real.
I'll be there.
A lot has to happen, but I just think right now I got look. I heard what you guys are saying, that some of these sports leagues think they're a little nuts. I think you're right. I think it's nuts that we're even trying to play. That being said, I really applaud the NHL. I think out of all the pro sports leagues, their approach and their plan has been the most realistic and the most in touch with what the coronavirus is doing. You see other sports that are just seem to be tone deaf to it, seem to act like our president here in the United States and pretend that it's not there. But I think the NHL has really done a great job of adapting to each development. And I think that's why it could work for the NHL.
So, Murph, what do you think about the hubs being Edmonton and Toronto? Murph? I guess Murph can't hear me, Gooch.
Murph, can you hear Paul?
No, I can't.
Okay, no worries. I'll do the translation.
You ask him.
As you're going. What was the question there, Paul?
I said, what does he think about the NHL giving the 2 hub cities to Canada?
Yeah, we were going to bring that up. Great question. Obviously, you being okay. Watch your GPS. Don't get in an accident. Listen, Murph, the question is from Paul, and I'm as excited to hear this answer. Obviously, the Gary Bettman loves to have everything happen in the NHL down south of the Canadian border. And, you know, they were all fired up about Vegas. And then we heard Chicago, and then we heard a bunch of other rumors. What are the thoughts now, you being a true gold, black, and white, the fact that there is only going to be games in that red-white country? Canada.
I love it. I love it, guys. I think that, you know, first of all, the only negative I have, I think it's great, and I think it should have been in Canada from the get-go, because clearly they were way ahead in terms of preventing the spread of the coronavirus. But my issue now is, why are you going to do it in Toronto and Edmonton? Why not just Edmonton? I know that Toronto's sexy, and I know that there's NHL headquarters there, and blah, 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 and they're probably going to make a little more money somehow with it being in Toronto, but you're going to switch them there in the conference final. So now you're asking these teams from the East, I mean, it's going to be, what, 2 teams at the most, I get it, but you're asking them to break the bubble. And what's the point of having this huge bubble if then all of a sudden you're going to ask them to break it? So I say just do it all in Edmonton, because Edmonton has been arguably the best city in North America when it comes to preventing the coronavirus. And when, you know, people actually wear masks and they don't think it's a political thing, they've done a great job there. So I just think the whole thing should be in Edmonton, but I have no problem with it being up in Canada. I thought the Vegas thing was asinine, because you look at that mayor when she came on in the beginning of this.
Oh my God.
I mean, you knew they were headed for disaster. You knew it.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you what, I was in Edmonton this year at the beginning of the year and got a chance to go into the Rogers place, or the Rogers Center. Oh my God, what a phenomenal facility. You can't ask for a better one. I would even put it an upgrade from here in Toronto, but they've also got the infrastructure, Paul. I don't know if you've seen it, or James, there's the infrastructure with hotels. You don't even have to go outside. It's all linked by, you know, enclosed bridges, and it's going to be phenomenal. And Edmonton is, I'll tell you what, I know everybody thinks Toronto's the mecca of hockey in Canada, but Edmonton's right up there.
Hey, Gouche.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, they got a good Stanley Cup history. Better. They got a more recent Stanley Cup history than the Maple Leafs. No, sorry, Leafs fans.
You got it. Wait till they win it this year, and it's in Edmonton. Hey, listen, Paul, go in and out. Let's just see if that corrects our issues with Murph.
Okay.
Sorry,
Speak
Murph.
up, Paul. I miss your voice.
Yeah, Paul's going to go in and out, and we're going to see if that solves this minor technical issue that we're having here. Hey, Murph, thanks for doing this. I know that you're busy, and obviously love to your daughter.
No worries, guys.
Yeah. No.
It's her birthday on Sunday, actually.
Oh, well, we'll sing her happy birthday.
9 years old, Gouche, already. Can you believe that?
Unbelievable. It's hard to
Time
believe you're
flies,
a dad.
man.
Listen, you a dad?
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
You kidding me? Come on, kid.
God's got some kind of faith in me, I'll tell you that.
Hey, listen, you know, you mentioned the other sports. How crazy is it with the MLS right now? Obviously, they're down in Florida. They've got a bunch of issues. You know, the Dallas team had to pull out completely. They've got players, Lucas Calavini from, I think it's Calavini, from the Whitecaps, the Vancouver Whitecaps, not joining them due to the fact that I guess he's nervous, which is understandable. I think the name is Toussaint Ricketts, Freddie Montero. So he's also from Vancouver, not going down. So it's going to be a watered down presentation. And you're going to Florida. Hello, Florida.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on all that?
I think it's asinine. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. And, you know, people are going to praising the NBA for their plan. Really? Are you telling me? I mean, you've already got players, the younger players in the NBA are already bitching and moaning about the fact that they won't be able to have sex for a while. Did you see that?
I didn't.
They're saying, oh, what are we going to do? Yeah, they're saying, what are we going to do? We're going to be cooped up. I mean, how do we go out and have some quote unquote fun and meet some ladies? And it's like, that shouldn't be on their mind right now. I don't think Sidney Crosby is thinking in his head, oh man, this is going to stink. I'm not going to be able to go meet some woman in Toronto. I think he's thinking, I'm all for it. Whatever I got to do, I'll do. I want to win the Stanley Cup.
Absolutely.
And that's how these players should be. And you know, I'm scared that if that's the mentality that these players have, you know, I'm not sorry to switch over to basketball there, but if that's the mentality that these players have right now at this second, and they're going to Orlando, if one of those guys breaks quarantine to go out and have a little fun with a lady, they're in big trouble. They're in big trouble.
Breaking news. Just be married for a while. You wouldn't have that problem. But more importantly, Melbourne, Australia has shut down. I talked to Aaron Kuzak last night. It's been all over the news. I don't know if you know that, James. Paul, I don't know if you've heard that. But They called us 2 hours before they shut the city down. It's shut down for 6 weeks. 6 weeks. And you know why? Wow. Because they had a hotel that was being quarantined. The people that were flying in from other parts of the country or other parts of the world, they were in a hotel, and the security guard allowed a bunch of them to get out of the hotel. And also there were ladies from the evening brought into the hotel, and they were going from zero to now 150 a night, and the government said, that's it, we're shutting it down. So Aaron Kuzak, who opened up his business, has now had to close his business down again, and it's 6 weeks. They've got apartment buildings, guys, there that actually have police surrounding it because they don't want anybody living it. This is 1984 being relived. And for everybody that's out there, I am not a pessimist. Paul, you know that. James, you know me. I believe I'm one of the utmost.
No, but you're a realist.
Positive dude. The realist is it can change tomorrow, guys. So Edmonton, Toronto, all of Canada, we've done an amazing job. Let's keep it up. Keep it up. We're not asking you too much. Wear a mask. Everybody wear a mask, and it'll solve this issue until we get a vaccine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why it's so hard?
Murph, can you hear me?
I really don't. I can hear you now, man.
Yes.
Good to have you back, brother. I want to ask you a question. I heard one of the things with the hockey is when it comes back that they're planning on the games in Edmonton and Toronto starting at 12 o'clock noon and going straight through till 10 p.m. If that's the case, man, we're going to get a lot of hockey.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, Bob McKenzie reported last night. That's probably where you heard it from or where it derived from. He said that they're going to have in the East and the West, the games will be played at noon, 4 and 8 p.m. So that means obviously that, you know, the games in Edmonton are starting at 2 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. And then 10 p.m. Eastern. So you're going to basically, if you're in the East, you're getting a marathon of hockey for the qualifying round and the round robin. I mean, this is going to be like March Madness with the NCAA basketball.
Yeah,
I'm
love it.
Psyched. I mean, this is going to be insane, man. It's going to be so fun if they can pull this off.
It's unbelievable. Because you know what, Paul? We don't have to watch that 87 Canada Cup anymore. Yoo-hoo!
Hey, Murph, will you be traveling with the Bruins to watch them, whether they go the first round or they make it right to the Stanley Cup? Will you be doing that?
So it's up in the air right now. The National Hockey Now that backs Boston Hockey Now, they're debating that right now. We've been starting to get in. It was only as recently as yesterday that the Professional Hockey Writers Association sent our travel options that they can help us with, or we could just stay in an Airbnb, but they got us a block discounted at the Delta Toronto by Marriott there downtown, right near the arena. But, you know, it's up in the air. I don't know if they're going to want to foot the bill. I know a lot of newspapers aren't sending anyone. There's not going to be a lot of media coverage, guys, because what's going to happen, I don't know if you've heard about this, is when you're covering there, you're not going to interview the players in person. You're not going to go down in the dressing room. You're not going to you're not even going to be able to do, and Gouche, we've seen this because I was at the World Championships with you when they do that. What do they call that thing where they, they put the players behind a barrier and they would just roll them through and the media would stand kind of 20 feet away. And
it was kind of like a
scrum. They're not even going to do anything like, but not even a scrum. I forget what they call that, something zone, but they only do it for international games. But anyhow, you're not even going to have that. So what they're going to do is they're going to have a huge TV in the press box where they'll hook it up and they'll stream the interview
Right.
from down ice level, because we're not going to be allowed at ice level, and they'll do it through a Zoom call. So basically, whether I'm sitting at home in my apartment or I'm sitting up in the press box at Toronto, I'm getting the exact same access. The only difference is obviously it gives your publication a lot of prominence that you're there. It looks great to be there and arguably cover the most historical Stanley Cup playoffs we've ever had, because we've never seen anything like this. So that would be awesome. And hey, if they come to me and they say, we're going to pay for you to go, then I'll go. But I mean, I looked at the prices just for myself, and we're talking $5,000 up front just to go.
Yeah. That's
so
crazy.
there's not going to be a lot of media there, guys. I don't think. I think it's a lot of people are just going to do it via Zoom from home.
The one thing, though, Murph, if I say this one thing, doing it on both ends since I retired, being in the broadcast booth, doing games like in Sochi, where I was in Toronto doing it via satellite, watching it off of a monitor, and then actually in the Worlds last year in Ostrava in the Czech Republic, being in the press box calling it, it's totally different. You can't, whether you're writing about it or doing it, being there is nothing like it.
No, exactly. And obviously we're going to beat the delay that people are going to see on TV. So, if Zdeno Chara goes into the corner and blows out a knee, I can tweet that before anyone sees it on TV.
Right.
So I can get that up there and sort of, I don't know if you call that breaking the news, but, I can do that before. And obviously you're seeing the game develop. The view you're getting is you're looking at the whole rink. And obviously it's a lot better to be able to cover it in person. And that's a great point you brought up there about the announcing. From what I'm told is the only play-by-play and color commentators, and then, the rink side, which won't be rink side, it'll be up in the press, but the only networks that will be allowed to bring a crew and broadcast from there will be NBC Sports in the States, because they carry the NHL here, and TSN, and Sportsnet and TVA, and those are the only networks that will be allowed in there.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think essentially, if you guys don't know, if you're not aware of, in the first round of the playoffs, it's tradition that the local networks, like say I don't know what it is in Toronto, whatever their local TSN or Sportsnet is, Nesson here in Boston, they would get the first round, and then it goes to the national networks after the first round. They're not even going to get the first round.
Wow.
Yeah, but this is the world we're in right now.
It's a new world. Yes, sir.
It sucks, but we can't complain. If they can get hockey, I'm not complaining, man.
So let's go back just one quick sec to the Olympics again, because I was just reading something here. How excited is the president, Rene Fissel? He always wanted the NHL to be there. He was really annoyed at the fact that the NHL was pulling them. And now he's got, I'll tell you what, I think it's a swan song. This is his last year. He's going to look absolutely brilliant once this announcement's made.
Yeah. You know what? I'm happy for him. And I just never understood. I mean, I guess the main beef from the NHL was that it dents into their schedule and they don't want to take that break away. But it's like,
that's nonsense.
I mean, come on, guys. It's nonsense. And you know what the main reason was? Because they looked at it from a financial standpoint, and they didn't think that they were going to make enough immediate money. But I look at it as you're showcasing the best in the world. You're putting your game on a world stage, and yeah, they're going to argue, well, we do that in the Stanley Cup Finals. That's great. So you're doing the Stanley Cup Finals. Big deal. You know what? The Olympics is a different thing. And if you're trying to, the NHL has been so much about trying to grow the game and reach the non-hockey fan in North America. You mentioned it earlier with the whole Southern Belt. Okay, so you're willing to put all those teams in the South. Why are you not willing to take the stage across the world and have, say some guy down in Brazil who doesn't know squat about hockey, he tunes in, he's like, wow, this is pretty exciting. Whoa, I'm going to be a hockey fan. This is great. Why would you not want that?
No, especially in this
day. It was just asinine. Yeah.
Well, they were also a little bit concerned about injuries, who's paying for the insurance. They've had some issues in the past. I think that was really the owners saying, listen, if I've got a player that's hurt, and my fans are paying hundreds of dollars a ticket to come and watch them play, and he comes back from the Olympics hurt. That's what the owners were concerned about.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but he could also step outside and walk across the street and get hit by a car. I mean, I don't know. What are we gonna live in a bubble here? Let's go.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know.
They are living in a bubble.
We are living in a bubble. Sort of let you in on it.
Listen, I love. To me, there's nothing better than the Olympics having the best of the best. I know it goes back to the amateur stuff, and that was great back in the 70s and 80s and whatever, and in 2018 we saw great hockey, and Germany coming up and almost winning it all, Russia beating them in overtime. But I think having the Americans and the Canadians and the Finns and the Swedes and the Russians, just look at a line that could be on Canada. You could have Nathan McKinnon with Connor McDavid and Sidney Crosby as a line.
Oh, yeah.
A line.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if we just, hand the gold and then let everybody else play out for like gold to B. Like the B trophy or something. I don't know. I mean, Canada's going to be stacked.
The Americans are going to be pretty good. You got Austin Matthews, Patrick Kane, Jack Eichel, Gaudreau. You've got some pretty damn good players in America too.
Yeah, we do. I mean, obviously, guys, the last 20 years, the United States has really, really come on in terms of players getting drafted and developing amazing players. I think it's been unreal what they've done. But yeah, I mean, let's face it, guys. Canada could sport 3 to 4 teams that could compete for the gold. You're just that stacked.
We got a great opportunity. We got Chris Driedger in the green room, so we can ask him about what's going on with the Olympics if he thinks that's really exciting. But he's also part of that contingency. Paul, you're 0-2 in the Ice Hockey Classic. The Americans have been on.
Hey. It wasn't his fault. He played amazing.
It was not at all. He's phenomenal. I think it was coaching.
What am I? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Coaching, whatever. Throw me under the bus. I don't really care.
No problem.
Hey, Gouche, can I ask Murph one?
Absolutely.
Murph, what do you think of this? What we just heard yesterday with Patrick Mahone and signing that $500 million, like $50 million a year. What is that, Murph?
Okay. Let's think about this, guys, right? And it's funny because one of the hot topics in Boston has been throughout this season, and even more so now because of what's happened with coronavirus and the season being paused, and now that the cap is going to flatten and all this stuff, is what will happen with Torrey Krug. I mean, he was poised to become one of the hottest unrestricted free agents on the market, if not the hottest, heading into what would have been free agency last week. But that's changed now. And, from every GM and agent and players that I talk to and people inside the game, they feel bad for Torrey because their expectation is now that instead of potentially getting $10 million a year in a multi-year deal, which he could have got because, let's face it, puck-moving defensemen are at a premium in today's NHL, and he's in his prime, he's probably looking more at like 6, maybe 7 if he's lucky a year. And a lot of people now are urging him to take a 1-year deal and just, have another great season. So that way, when the NHL starts to recover from this new economy and recoup some of the losses, and I'm telling you guys, this isn't going to just be a 1-year thing. This could take up to 5 years for them to recoup what they've lost, if we're going to be realistic. So when I see this deal, yes.
I'm on CERB, for God's sakes, getting $2,000 a month. Can you give him a shout and ask him if he can throw me a bone? Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, I look at this now and I look at the NFL and I mean, are the Kansas City Chiefs tone deaf? Are they have they been in a cave for the last 3 months? I mean, who the hell would give somebody the highest contract in the history of pro sports right now? How stupid can you be? That's what I think of that.
Oh my God! Hey, Paul, I just love the passion. Love the passion.
Plus, never make your quarterback the highest paid player. Did anyone learn from the Patriots? Did anyone learn from what they did every year with Tom Brady for 20 years and won 6 Super Bowls? Tom Brady was never the highest paid player.
Look at where he is now, though, James.
Yeah. Good luck to him, traitor.
Hey, buddy, we look forward to getting you on next week. Murphy's Hockey Law is always one of our favorite sessions.
All right.
So we look forward to getting on, and obviously we'll know a lot more about where we are at the NHL. And I'll tell you what,
sounds great.
We're blessed to have you on the show.
Thanks, Murph.
Yeah, and I'm blessed to be with you guys. Stay safe. All right.
Happy birthday to our little one.
Yeah, Maddie. We're gonna celebrate on Sunday. Thanks, guys.
Maddie Murphy.
Cheers.
Maddie Murphy.
Yep.
See you, kid.
Take care.
He's passionate, eh? Holy macalarchy.
I just have to ask about that because $50 million a year for Mahone, $500 million for 10 years. Is that insane?
Man, we got to get him off the caffeine. But I'll tell you what, we're going to ask this next guy who I absolutely am a huge fan. And I actually wore my Winnipeg Jets t-shirt because he's from Winnipeg. And talking with Taylor, he's always bragging about Chris Driedger. And I'm always saying, yeah, but what has he done for Paul lately? Right. So we've got a great opportunity, Paul, to talk to one of our favorites who comes on the show. Yeah, I think he actually saw the rink fall down. Chris Driedger. Driedger, what's going on?
What's up, guys? How we doing?
Hey, buddy.
Look at my shirt.
One of my all-time favorites, man.
Rosie, good to see you.
Gouche is not letting me live it down. Between Gouche,
that's not true.
Gouche and Dennis Maruk, all they talk about is me losing and losing and losing. And you know what?
That is not true. That is not true, Paul. We're just keeping you grounded, kid. You're a gold medalist. So we just don't want you to go. So we're trying to motivate you because you know what? We're not there in 2020. We'd be coming home right now from Australia. So we're planning a 2021. It could be our swan song. It's supposed to be our 10th year anniversary. We're going to do an outdoor game again, but we're not going to have wind. And it's going to be in Queenstown. And then we're going to do a game in Melbourne. You've been there, where we're going to open the roof onto the not the Rod Laver Arena, but the Melbourne Arena there, and we're going to open it up and be the first time. And if it rains, we can actually close the roof. And I know that we're going to be begging that Driedger comes on for the last one.
Listen, I'd be happy to do it. It was I think it's funny you mentioned losing. I've been on 3 times. I think we have a pretty good record though. I think we just won the one year. Other than that, we were pretty good. Team Canada was holding our own, but. No, that sounds great. Queenstown was it's honestly one of my favorite places I've ever been. So
yeah, well, the New Zealand part's going to be fantastic. Also, listen, we are very blessed to have Chris Driedger, 3rd round draft pick of the Ottawa Senators. He's no longer there. He's in Florida. We watched a couple of games this year. You were outstanding. Tell us about, I know we're going to get into, we want to talk about your full career. And Paul really has a question to you about, obviously, the Memorial Cup story. But tell us about getting into the WHL. Obviously, the Western Hockey League, being a Winnipeg boy. Talk us through how you got to that stage.
So the WHL, so basically, we're throwing it back pretty far now. So
black and white television.
Yeah. So I was something like that. Yeah. So I was playing midget hockey for the Winnipeg Monarchs back in the glory days, and I remember I would have been in like grade 9 when I was drafted to the Tri-City Americans. So, we had a couple big tournaments when I was in Bantam, a lot of WHL scouts at those, and our team was pretty dominant in Manitoba. So luckily we had a decent amount of exposure in Winnipeg. Winnipeg's a pretty prominent city for guys to come out of in the Western League. It's one of the big ones for sure, like with Calgary, Edmonton, Vancouver, cities like that. Winnipeg's, kind of just right behind them, if not right with them. So, just did that. Was lucky enough to be chosen in the 4th round by the Tri-City Americans. They do the draft, so you play another year in minor hockey before you go up, and you play in the Western League. So I was fortunate. I went as a 16-year-old to Tri-Cities. Was a backup there. Didn't stop much, but it was good to get the experience under the belt for sure. And then we went into the summer. They ended up trading both me and the starter at that time, Drew Owsley, to I went to Calgary. Owls went to Prince George or something. He got the short end of that stick for sure. But and then I played 3 years with Calgary. Started pretty much. I think I started the majority of the games all 3 years, and was fortunate enough to get drafted to Ottawa my first year in Calgary, second year in the Dub. So that was my short little route to the WHL, and those are some of the best years of my life. Loved it. I was in Calgary, like I said, for the most of it, and it was great. We loved it. We had a great time. Awesome group of guys. Still keep in touch with a lot of them today.
Paul, before you go into your question on the Memorial Cup, I just want to. There's a theme here. Winnipeg Monarchs, Gouche, Assiniboine Park Monarchs. The Assiniboine Park Monarchs changed their name to the Winnipeg Monarchs.
Were you an old Assiniboine Park Monarch?
You got it, buddy. Now watch this one. This was even crazier. So when I went to the Winnipeg Junior Jets, which is the Winnipeg Clubs, it was all screwed up. They moved to Calgary and became the Calgary Wranglers. I only got 3 games because they didn't like me, so they sent me home. And you went to the Calgary Hitmen. There's a theme here.
Don't worry about it. That's funny. Small world, though. A little bit of comparisons there.
And we're from Winnipeg.
Love it. Miss it. I haven't been back in forever. I haven't been back in too long because of this whole COVID nonsense. But looking forward.
Where
to
are you
that
now?
At some point, eventually. I'm actually one in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale. We got training camp on Monday, so I've been here for 3 weeks. Just been skating. I decided maybe since I had 3 months off, I should maybe get back to Florida and get on the ice so I don't look like a fish out of water when I get back on the ice. So we've been skating, getting the rust off, and it looks like we've got a boat tonight. We boat on the CBA, and then if and when all goes well, we start training camp Monday. So we're
fantastic.
Moving again. Yeah, it's exciting times.
Can you get me a ticket, Paul?
I think there's no fans though, so it'd be tough. I'll see what I can do for you though. For a friend, I can see what I can do.
Anyway, a few things we want to talk about, but first of all, anybody that we've had on the show, and we've been fortunate to do a lot of shows in the last 3-4 months that played in the C, whether it was in the W or the Q or the O. You had the chance to play with the Hitmen, great organization. This year, first year, 102 years, no Memorial Cup. So you got guys on the Kelowna Rockets, they're done. They were hosting the Memorial Cup. They had the automatic in, and now it's done. An overager's career is over. If you didn't have a chance to keep playing, you had the chance. You're playing in the NHL. You were having an incredible year this year. What were your thoughts about the Memorial Cup, that run, and what the players had to go through now?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, you got to feel for the guys like those 20-year-olds on those teams, and even the 19-year-old, anyone on that Kelowna team, they might not have another chance to get in the Memorial Cup, and that they were making trades before to stack up and get their team ready to win. So you gotta feel bad for them. That's just a tough spot to be in. Really, really unfortunate. I didn't know that number. 102 years. It's been given out every year. That is incredible, and to have that broken for a pandemic is pretty sad. That's really tough, but you just got to reach out for those guys. Like, you play your whole career, and I, we had so much fun in Calgary. We were not fortunate enough to ever make it to the finals or the Memorial Cup. It's pretty hard to do that, so I wasn't able to get there. But I know for those guys that do, I have some buddies that did, and they said it was the experience of a lifetime. So that's tough. Yeah. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I think that's just a really, really bad hand to get dealt. You have it right there in front of them, and then a pandemic like this is just snatch it away. You got to feel for those guys.
Hey, Chris, before we move into your NHL career, did you ever meet a guy named Mark McKay? Does that name ring a bell at all? He was part of the Hitman ownership group. I played with him in Germany.
It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Why? You buddies with him?
Yeah, he's an agent now with God, who's he? I know they've
You know what? I have heard the name before. I don't know him personally though.
Tyler Myers is one of his clients. He's with CAA, and he was a part owner of the Hitmen. So thought maybe you knew that name. Paul, let's get right into, obviously, your NHL career. Paul, I know that you're a goaltender, so you've got that goaltender type of question. I know that all goaltenders are weird, except for Chris. Chris is one of those down-to-earth type of guys. He's been listen, you've been in the good and the bad on our Ice Hockey Classics. You've seen me at my best. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, you see me crying a lot. So my first question for you is that obviously going to the Ottawa Senators, being drafted there. Tell us about that first moment where you got drafted. Were you there? Were you excited? Ottawa Senators, what was the experience like?
Yeah, I mean, up until my first start that I had this year, I think it was the most exciting moment of my life. Up until that point, it was pretty cool. My agency at the time didn't really, I don't know what their deal was, but they didn't really tell me I was getting drafted. They called me the day before. They're like, yeah, maybe the 4th round, maybe this, maybe that. And I'm like, okay, well, you guys don't sound confident. They didn't tell me to go, so I didn't go. I honestly didn't think I was getting drafted. I was like, there's no chance. I was ranked like 13th or 14th in North America. Like, that pretty much slots you in like the 6th, 7th round. And I don't know, my agent did not give me the impression that I was like should be picked, or if I was going to pick, it was going to be later. And then I ended up going 3rd round to Ottawa. And my agent called me at 9 in the morning. He actually woke me up with a call, and I was like, oh, I didn't expect that. I was kind of like, oh, I'll wake up at 10, and then I'll get picked in the 5th or 6th or 7th round or something like that. But no, I got the call earlier than expected, and City, it was very exciting. I mean, it was pretty wild to have that experience and end up getting drafted to the NHL. Was what I dreamed of as a kid. So it was a special moment, no doubt.
Paul, how upset would you be? Because even to get the sniff to be drafted is one thing, but how upset would you be at your agent if he's telling you, okay, you're not going to get drafted anyway, then, and you go where he went? My goodness, I'd be going through the phone.
I'll tell you what, they're not my agents anymore. So
yeah,
good move.
Hey, Driedger, that might be the first one there, but I'll tell you one thing. A lot of guys look at it and they go, the first round, let's say, as a player, but to be drafted as a goaltender in the 3rd round, that's huge. Like, the odd goalie gets drafted in the 1st round. The odd goalie, it's a very, very slim. But to get that pick in the 3rd round, to know you're going to Ottawa, and then and then you went up and down. You played in the minors a lot, back and forth. But the one thing that I loved when I met you in Australia and got to know you a little bit was that tenacity, that never give up. I don't give a damn what you think of me. I'm going to make it. And then to see you, Driedger, in Florida this year, because man, you played like you were on a roll, baby. The break really hurt you, and I'm hoping that you get right back to where you were. I know you will. Where did that makeup come from? That never give up attitude to see where you are now?
Honestly, I appreciate the kind words. I didn't have that my whole life. I mean, I always trying to work my hardest and all that stuff. But I think it really took me getting the short end of the stick a little bit in Ottawa. I went through some tough times in that organization. They kind of just like didn't really give me that time of day. They did, and then they didn't, and then I had a coach that was not the biggest fan of mine, and that didn't help me either. And then I was like, you know what, all these things that I was doing that I thought that were going to get me to the NHL, they didn't get me there. So I think I took some time and I kind of looked myself in the mirror and I was like, all right, like, we got to change something if you want to get here. And it's not going to be easy because, you get drafted to an organization and, there's people in the organization that are pulling for you. Everyone kind of wants their own draft picks to do well. And I didn't have that when I went to Florida. So I pretty much knew. I was like, you know what, like, I'm going to have to buckle in and just work my balls off to get to the NHL. And that was the mindset I had every day. And my coaches helped me with that a lot. I kind of went in early with my goalie coaches and I would say, hey, listen, like, if you see me slacking in practice, like, let me know. Don't be afraid. This is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to change my, my persona or who I am in the net. And yeah, so that's kind of how I went about things. And I just found the hard work and never being satisfied was kind of what helped me get success. And then once you get a little bit of success, it's like, okay, like, this isn't enough. You got to keep going. So I think that helped. And we kind of continued that from my step from the American League into Florida this year. With my goalie coach Rob Tallis in Florida, we kind of did the same thing. Like, one game is great. I went in and was lucky enough to have that first start go well. And then, after that, my second game was pretty mediocre, nothing crazy. I ended up letting a bit of a softie that ended up losing it for us. So I was, every high that I had after the first game, I was right back to square one after that. You can only ride a shutout for so long. So turned out it was one game. So after that, it was just back to reality, back to work. And then when I got my next opportunity, we just kind of built from there. But having that hunger to play well and to compete and never be satisfied is kind of what helped me just never lose my focus and just kind of keep playing well. So things kind of were going well after that. And then, like you said, the break came at a tough time. I was injured for about a month and a half. I think I was out 6 weeks to the day. And we get back, I played 3 in a row, and then boom, coronavirus, stop it all. So that was tough timing, but going in there and getting those 3 games was big for my confidence too. It helped me realize that the first, I think I had maybe 9 games before that weren't a fluke. I was hurt off the ice for probably 4 weeks, a full month, and then came back and then played well in the next 3. So that was big for my confidence, and we're looking forward to getting back to it hopefully soon here.
Can I ask you one follow-up just on that? Have you heard anything about you're starting up? Hopefully training camp will start next week. Hopefully we will get going. Have you heard, are you getting that start? Like when it all starts out, are you the guy that they're going to when the next round or the first round starts for you?
I haven't heard anything. They haven't really told me much. I would imagine, when you're paying a guy $10 million, like they are Bob, you probably want to give him the look to start. But I guess we'll see. Like I said, those are just my speculations. I kind of would prepare the same way either way, so it's really not an issue. But it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I would imagine they would give it to Bob, but I don't know.
Hey, listen, Paul and Chris, I'm going to take a little bit of credit here. For you being so good, because when we brought you on the Ice Hockey Classic, I had a chance to shoot at you a couple.
Not
times.
You, Gouche. You're gonna take the credit.
And I didn't score on you, so I really built your confidence up. We had that little shinny game that we did, and I couldn't put a puck past you. And I know that you came back here. Yes,
you couldn't score on me, Gouche, when we were training.
Okay, well, honestly, I'm 60.
You're 60. You don't look a day over 59.
Stop it. Hey, listen, we've got a couple of great comments. I don't know if you remember Adam Cox. He took very good care of you over there. Look at, he was so excited. I know he texted me right off the bat. Hey, you got a shutout. Okay, dummy, I'm watching the game. Like he's texting me from Australia. And then, of course, Paul, your brother's come on. And how was it playing for Coach Q?
Yeah, Q's the man. I mean, he's very professional with everything he does, and he's just a good guy. Like, you hear the stories about some coaches, being maybe a little bit not the greatest guys. Q is the complete opposite. He's like the man. So to go in and I was just kind of like interested to see what he was all about. And he came into a new organization as well. So I think he kind of like slow played things a little bit. But then when I got called up during the season, he's very intense. When guys need to get ripped, he'll rip you, but he'll do it in a very constructive way. He'll never call a guy out, to make him feel bad in front of the group, anything like that. Very constructive, and just like an overall great guy. And just the amount of respect he commands when he comes into a room is pretty humbling to witness. He comes in and there's not a peep. Instant silence. Everyone just knows, this is Q. We're not going to mess around. So he's fun to watch. And, when he gets, sometimes we'll have video and he'll get in and, we lost a couple in a row and he'll be like, you know what, boys, this is it. He'll kind of get the boys going and everyone's all fired up after it. It's kind of cool to be a part of, for sure. He's a great, I couldn't say more positive things about him.
Great. Listen, we've got our European correspondent here, of course, Paul Shoppy, always coming up with the connection between Krefeld. And I know some of our fans are starting to get sick of it. Shoppy, why do you always have to? But Paul, you can maybe explain to Chris why we have to go through this formality.
Well, you know what? We got Shabby's our European correspondent. Germany and hockey in Germany has just exploded with some of the guys. And so it's everybody who's been on our show has some type of affiliation to Krefeld and the Penguins, whether they played there or they drove through there, they had a schnitzel or a beer. So obviously he's going to find somebody that you played with, Chris, for sure. And who I can't see it, Gooch. What's it?
It is Justin
Fazer. Yeah, I
know?
remember Faze. Yep. Oh, yeah. He was my teammate when I was 16 years old in Tri-Cities. He's a great guy. That's funny. I knew he was in Europe buzzing around somewhere. I didn't know he was in Krefeld, but he was a heck of a guy. He was a lot of fun when we were in Tri-Cities. That would have been 10 years ago, actually. I was 16 then, and then 26 now. So 10 years ago, me and Faze were teammates, winning games in Tri-Cities. So fond memories with him. He was an awesome guy.
It's incredible with Shoppy. He'll find something on everybody. He'll find something. He digs a lot.
He said,
that's impressive. That's a throwback.
Misty's come on and she said, I think it's great when Shoppy, I think we should call him Snoopy. Forget the Shoppy part. I think it's getting old hat. Hey, listen, there's on the right-hand side, you're seeing some questions. We'll throw them up. We thank you for all your time right now. Driedger, I know it's a busy time. I know you're making a vote tonight. I hope you're voting yes, because we want to see you obviously playing. But did you get a chance to play against the Edmonton Oilers, or at least watch them play?
I don't actually think so. I did with Ottawa. I was on the bench in Ottawa when we played the Oilers, but I don't think we played them this year.
The reason I'm asking,
I think if we did, McDavid was out.
My question's not going to McDavid. My question's not going to McDavid. Shoppy, we know this year in the draft there are going to be 3 Germans selected, probably in the top 20. Tim Stutzler, probably top 2 or 3. And there's this kid named Draisaitl. And did you get a chance to see him play?
Yeah. He actually was a Western Leaguer. He played in Kelowna when I was in Calgary, so we played him a ton. And
how good is he?
He was pretty good in the Western League too. He's incredible, but he's taken it to a whole new level this year. I mean, I've watched him enough on TV and seen him. He's pretty incredible. You know, if you're beating McDavid in points and you're playing on the same team, I think you're doing something right. So I don't know, just his vision. He's a big body, he shoots. He's the full package. So I always thought he was a stud and he was a player, and he sort of came in the league. I mean, he was obviously a phenomenal player, but I thought he was kind of like, top 5 guy status. And the series came out, and he's done it with 110 points or something, and we still have 12, 13 games left to play. So I think those numbers kind of say it all. But he's good. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. Listen, Paul, you can ask the next question. Right after that, I want to go through some of the comments that are on the right-hand side for Chris. So I know you have a question for him.
Yeah. So Driedger, the question I want to ask is, it's about the goaltenders union. You know, we belong to a union that is a little crazy because we're the last guy. No matter what, if the forward makes a mistake, the D makes a mistake, nobody remembers any of that. They remember what happens with us, whether it's the goal or the save, or they remember it. You're the highest high and the lowest low. What is it going to feel like when you come back and there is nobody in the, jokes people say, well, you played with Florida, there's nobody in the stands. So you have played with a lot of people and a few people. What is it going to be like? You come back and there's nobody there. First game, guy's got a big coming down the right wing, lets a bullet shot go. You make the big stop, no noise.
No, there's noise. There's crickets.
Silence, crickets, yeah. Crickets, exactly. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because I think initially, I mean, I don't know because we haven't done it yet, but this is my prediction. I think it's going to be a shock at start. And, you're going to be like, wow, this is quiet. I know they were talking about maybe like pumping fan noise into it. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. That sounds like that's a little far-fetched maybe, but yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't know, because usually the fans bring a ton of energy, and it definitely gives guys a little bit of a boost, gets some momentum going. So it might be a bit of a different game to start. I imagine once you have a few games under your belt, you'll start to get used to it, and it'll become less of a factor. But you got to think those first few games, it's going to be a different atmosphere in there, and it's going to be a lot tougher to keep momentum going. It's crazy. You have a game that's going on, and a couple big saves or a couple big plays, and all of a sudden, the fans are buzzing. Every shot on net, everyone's going nuts. So, and then that feeds into the players. So if there's less of that, it might be a very different looking game, momentum wise. So it'll be interesting to see, but it's definitely going to be different. There's no feeling like going out there and seeing 20,000 screaming fans when you skate on the ice. That's I think my favorite part of being in the NHL. It's an unbelievable experience. So it's going to be tough not to have that as a part of it. But like I said, it's going to be we're playing in a part of history. So it's going to be cool just to be a part of that, whether even though the fans aren't going to be there.
My personal opinion, it's going to be like the Taiwanese baseball, Paul. You and I have seen it, where they're going to have these cutouts and the blow-up dolls, and I'm not sure why they have blow-up dolls. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But here's a good point. It's just getting you ready, Chris, for when you retire and you're in the beer leagues like we play now. There's no fans. My mom used to come to my games. Tony doesn't even come to my games anime.
She doesn't come anymore?
No, she hung.
Busy.
She hung up the shoes, and she was just fine. She's Saint Elodia. You are one of her favorites too. Barry Shelley is asking a question. How did you like playing in Birmingham? And
Binghamton. Binghamton, New York. Yeah, Binghamton. So I played there for they're part of 3 years. It was good. When you first drive into the city, it doesn't look like much, but then you get to know it a little bit, and there's a couple good spots to go. You got a college here. We had a lot of fun in Binghamton, actually. It's funny. When we went to Springfield, we were like, I kind of miss Binghamton. But, it was good. Fans were great. When we would go back there when I was playing with Springy, I still had fans that had Driedger jerseys that would come see me after the game. And it was great. It was fun. And it's cool when you go back into a building that you used to play for, and fans still, a couple fans still have your jerseys and whatnot. And then, when I'm not playing, everyone, fans are kind of, trying to talk to you, yelling at you and stuff like that. So it's fun memories in Binghamton.
Hey, listen, we've got John Teal coming on saying, Chris, have you ever trained on synthetic ice? He's doing a cheap plug because he runs Can Ice. Have you ever been on synthetic ice as a goalie?
So I went through a point where we had it briefly at the place I trained. I was younger though. I might have been 14, 15, 16 in that range. And it was a little different, but you definitely you got the feel for the ice. We would just go on and kind of do some movement while the real ice was getting used, and you'd sort of someone would be on the synthetic ice, and then you'd move to the real ice and do your session there, and then you'd jump off, and then the person's on the synthetic would jump over to the real ice. So it was different. I'm sure it's better now than it was when I was doing it, but it was good. It was a good tool to just get on the ice without actually having real ice. It'd be cool to have that in your basement or something like that. It would definitely give you an edge.
Paul, just a couple more comments here on the right-hand side. Paul Stewart, do you know that name at all? He played in Binghamton, and he was a referee. Did he ever referee against you?
There's a good chance, but they don't have names in the back of the jersey.
Yeah, you know what? So, most goalies don't know who's on the ice anyways.
First of all,
I'm not.
I hated referees.
What's that?
You guys never know who's on the ice anyways, Paul.
Not many referees.
I'd have to see them. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, not many referees, Driedger, said I hated referees. I let them know it, and they knew they hated me, and I hated them, and I was okay with that. You talked about Binghamton, and that was the Senators, right? Binghamton American Hockey League. I was always curious with goaltenders, especially. Now you're in the NHL. The American Hockey League is obviously in my opinion, I think a lot of opinion, the closest to the NHL and maybe the KHL. But how many guys, when you were playing in the American Hockey League, you thought, man, this guy, if he only had a break, like he could be in the NHL, and just for whatever reason, there's a lot of great players in the American Hockey League, are there not?
100%, yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that go into it, but it seems to me like you got your guys, your top six forwards that are skilled, and it kind of seems like no matter what, they're going to be in an NHL. And then you got the bottom six guys where the difference between the American League is a lot less prominent, and the difference in a lot of these guys is just getting a break. So some guys get it, some guys don't. Sometimes you have a coach that doesn't like a guy. Sometimes you have a coach that likes the guy a lot. it's pretty crazy. But I've played with some guys, you know, that you look at them and you're like, there's no way this guy should be getting in the NHL. But that's the way it is, and it's same with goalies too. There's some goalies and some fantastic goalies in the American League that probably belong in the NHL for sure. But it is interesting because there's so much more that goes into it sometimes than just what you do on the ice. You know, like one coach doesn't like you, or one you know, even the strength coach don't get along well. Someone thinks that you have bad habits or this or that, or there's a myriad of reasons why, you know, teams will give you a chance. You know, one guy badmouths the GM once, and next thing you know, he's traded. So then there goes his chance. You know, that stuff happens more than you think.
And a player can get caught in the system, and there's a couple of guys that maybe they've pushed ahead of you, and you know it happens. It happened in the old days much more than it does now. But most of the guys that have a shot at the NHL, that have the talent, will get there eventually, even if they have to be moved from another team. Tony's saying, "Hey, Driedger, miss ya," and we've got Shoppy coming on again. He's asking you, did you ever get offers from Europe? Well, hang on a sec here. He hasn't finished his NHL career. No, he's trying to be his agent. He's trying to get him to Krefeld because they need a goaltender.
That's funny. I actually went through a stretch where I was looking to maybe go over to Europe. Well, after my years in Binghamton and my last season in Belleville, things kind of didn't go well between me and the organization, and I was kind of thinking of maybe hopping the pond. But my new agents, they kind of said, "Hey, listen, buddy, you're staying in North America. You're not going to Europe yet. You're gonna make the NHL." And I was like, "Okay, all right, we'll give it another shot." You know, kind of like I was kind of down on myself at the time, but turned out that decision was the right one. So kudos to them for that. They were guiding me on the right direction, no doubt, and I'm very happy that I stayed here. But you know, everything's all said and done, and I'm hopefully have, you know, a long career. I would definitely you know, want to go over to Europe just to check it out. It'd be a cool place to retire, I think. You know, play out your last couple of years over in God knows where, but it seems like it's pretty nice over in Europe. You know, we had a pretty good time in London, and we went to a couple spots after that, toured around with some of the boys, and it seemed all right. Seems like I could get used to life.
That was kind of fun. Now that you mentioned
that was great. That was
you know what?
Yeah.
Paul, you do not know. Chris knows maybe a little bit of it. We were this close of not having jerseys. The jerseys got locked up. Remember? Did you know that, Chris?
I think someone said that. Yeah, I think
we had to fly. We had to shut down a firm here, CDK. It was 3 days before the event because the jerseys got locked up, and it was a long weekend. So we had to get my buddy to make 2 sets of jerseys because it was going to be skins and shirts, and you wouldn't look good in skins. So we got them made in 24 hours, and a guy jumped on it. I had to get a point flight. He had to fly into London, take the train up. You didn't know that. It was unbelievable.
I knew there was something going on, but I forgot it was that down to the wire. You guys got it done though.
Oh, we got it done. Oh, no question. Hey, looking sharp and sounding great. Treats. Love from Aaron Kuzak and his beautiful wife, Saitel. Just before you ask your question there, Kenny Holland played for years as a goalie. I did not know that.
There you go.
Who the heck's Kenny Holland? Not the Kenny Holland. Not Paul?
Maybe he's talking about Kenny Holland, who just got inducted into the Hockey Hall of Fame as one of the best GMs of all time.
Barry, you got to keep this up.
Binghamton's been around for
a long time,
like 30, 40, 50 years, maybe. I don't know, some absurd amount of time as a minor league team. So, but yeah. So how you guys been doing? How's the show been going, Gouche?
We're good.
Rosie?
You know, Paul and I, you know, we kind of hit it off pretty good together, and I get to jab him about his coaching career in Australia. And remember, I've got to be non-biased here. I have to, you know, building a Canadian team and an American team. And he always uses the excuse, you know, I always favor the Americans because I feel sorry for them.
Hey, I've never used the excuse ever.
You said the wind was blowing the other way, or the slanted ice. Did you say that
shit? I've never used an excuse, man. When I've won, I've taken it, and when I've lost, I've been more than happy to take the whatever you want to give me. I have no issue with that whatsoever. Always.
Whoop whoop.
You know what? Actually, I think you guys are.
Dreeds, once Drees, once in a while when I really want to, which I don't like, doing that, I'll wear one of my Olympic or world championship rings and just sort of show it.
When you're on when you're on the show with Gouche, you just give him one of these guys?
Every once in a while.
Scoring races, all-time leading scorer of the 7th Division of Germany.
But he's counting all his goals in warm-up too, Greach.
100%.
And the other guys. Hey, listen, Tony's saying whoop whoop. She would like to see the skins.
Like to see the skins. Well, maybe next time in Queenstown we can do shirts and skins.
And certainly, I'll tell you, that would be cool. And certainly, it wasn't the first time the jersey didn't show up. Thanks about that. Hey, listen, Paul, I know you got a question. We're going to let you go. Dreed, you got only a couple more questions. Can't thank you enough. I know that's a big goal tonight, and we're really looking forward to watching you play, of course. But I'll tell you what, you're one of our favorites. And here's one of my favorite pictures of you. Paul, look at that one.
Here we go. How come? Oh, yeah, that's a good one. I actually threw that one up on my Instagram. It's a little edit to it, too. Good stuff.
Paul, how cool is that shirt?
That's gorgeous. That's
great.
That's Mark Bradford did that for us in Australia. That's fantastic.
Wow. It's always good. My gear always matched up with Canada colors. Worked out well.
There's another one in.
Oh, there you go. Little Panthers. Panthers actually. That's this year.
Big 60.
There he is.
There we go.
That's how old, Paul. That's how old you are. He wore your jersey for this.
I just turned 60. Yeah.
Well, hey, happy belated.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So you know what? The last thing I just want to say to you, Dreed, and really appreciate you coming on the show. We've had a ton of fun doing the show. One of the things you honored me was, if you remember, you wore my jersey, my Vancouver jersey. You wore it. And that meant a lot to me because it's the guys in hockey, and we do a lot in a lot of sports, but hockey's the main thing. And you see the guys in hockey, and Gouche has brought this program on called Connected in the last little while, and give a shift for mental health. And it's a big part of it. I'm not sure if you know, about 18 months ago, I tried to take my life, and Gouche and Tony were two of the first people down to see me at the psychiatric ward when I was going through my troubles, and I've got through them. I'm doing really well right now, but it's because of great people. The last thing I want to ask you is, is there somebody out there right now who's like just helped you through some rough times, and hopefully you haven't gone through terrible times, but just somebody maybe you want to give a shout out right now, and because this Connected program that we have is just unbelievable, and anybody that you just connected to that really meant the world to you?
Well, a couple things. Rosie. Gouche actually did I think he let me know over text, I want to say, or email or something about your situation. I was devastated to hear that, because you're such an awesome guy, and just such a light of light laughter, and you were just a pleasure to be around while we were in Australia, and you really made that a better experience for everyone. So when I heard that horrible news, I was devastated, and I was hoping I'm really happy to hear that you're doing all right now, and that's great. That's unbelievable for you. And secondly, you asked about I wanted to mention as well, you gave me you were talking about me wearing your jersey. You gave me the signed card of you making like an unbelievable glove save in Vancouver, right? I want to say it says something like "believe in yourself" or
never give up.
Never give up. There it is. Yeah. So I still have that actually back in Winnipeg. It's I want to say it's on my wall. It's somewhere visible, but so that's pretty cool. That was pretty special to me too. It's not every day that you get something like that from a guy who's won a gold medal. So I just want to thank you again for that. But I think I was fortunate to have my family and I think honestly it's corny to say, but my old man, my dad, has helped me through a lot. I was going through some tough times in my career, and that was kind of having an effect on my personal life and stuff like that. So when I was not having the success that I had imagined for myself a few years back, so just my old man kind of would reach out and we would talk, weekly, sometimes not even that frequently, but just having someone just to talk to and verbalize things and tell them how you feeling and you know, give you a different outlook. And it goes such a long way. So I'm thrilled that you guys are doing this. The Connect, it sounds like a great thing. And sometimes that's all you need. You just need to reach out and just talk it out. So that's great. I'm happy to hear you guys are doing it. And yeah, thanks for having me on the show, guys. This is great.
Hey, Driedger, how old's your father?
It's a question I should know the answer to, but I think he's 54, I want to say.
Paul, he's calling him an old man. What are we then?
We're older.
You're calling your dad an old man. I feel old all of a sudden.
Yeah. He's about your age. He's maybe a couple years younger, but nothing. Same ballpark.
Well, Driedger, can't thank you enough. Honestly, you're one of our favorites. We are going to hit you up as you get into the season after it's all done. Our give a shit for mental health is really important. As you've probably been reading, there's a lot of issues, obviously, with the pandemic. You guys going back to play. Hopefully, everything goes smoothly. That's going to mean a lot to a lot of people. And you've got big fans all around the world, not only through the Sheffield event that we did, but, you know, Australia, New Zealand. You're almost a household name to all the fans out there because you're such a class act. Before I let you go, Winnipeg, what part were you born?
I was born in White Ridge. It's kind of Fort Garry area, southwest.
Yeah.
Where
the rich side. The rich side.
Not anymore.
I know it's gone downhill. I was in St. Boniface, so the Windsor Park.
You're not far.
Yeah.
No, not at all. You French? En français?
Bonjour, comment allez-vous aujourd'hui? Hey, did you go to the Winnipeg Arena? Were you there around when it was open?
I want to say it was there. The Moose played there when I was young. Or no? Did they not?
That's still the MTS. I don't know when it went down. The original Winnipeg Jets arena out at Polo Park.
I might. I think I did when I was young.
I think your mother was you were probably being fed by a bottle watching Bobby Hall and Anders Edberg play.
I think that the Moose did play there for a couple of years, and they gassed it, and the MTS Center went out. And I've been obviously to the MTS Center a bunch of times, but I do remember going to that one. I might have been like 5 or 6 or something like that, but that's old school. And then they gassed the whole thing, and no longer, unfortunately.
Downtown. Paul, last word?
No, just really appreciate it, and man, I'm always here for you, buddy. If you need, I'm hoping for success in the playoffs for the Florida Panthers. I'm hoping that if Mr. Bobrovsky gets a chance to start, it's very limited, and then Driedger, you get in there and take the team for a long ride, and Stanley Cup would be beautiful. And
Hang on. Whoa.
Hey, quiet for a second, Gouche. If you ever need, I'm always here to talk, man. You are one of my all-time favorites, brother.
I can say the same for you, Rosie. Appreciate you having me on, and great to talk to you guys again, both, and even you too, Gouche. It's actually good to see you too.
You're not going to beat the Winnipeg Jets this year, the Jets or the Leafs. Could you imagine the Leafs winning it in Edmonton?
You have to beat Calgary first, man. You're not taking Calgary.
Oh my God! Yeah. All right,
I know. I'm looking forward to it.
Driedger, I know deep down inside you want the Jets to go just as far, but if you're against them, you got to beat them.
Got to beat them, 100%.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Driedger.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Next time we see you, I'm going to sign a player's card of mine for you.
Okay, appreciate that.
All right, buddy.
I'll put that up on the wall beside Gouche, or beside Rosie, sorry.
All right, buddy. Stop throwing darts at mine. All right, kid. See you in Australia.
All right, guys.
See you, buddy.
Absolutely. Bye now.
Good luck, buddy.
What a nice kid.
Yeah.
He's funny.
In the dressing room. What a leader, what a great guy. The guys loved him, man. They absolutely loved him. He played great.
Yeah. He's not only a great goalie, of course, you know better about, you know, his style and that sort of stuff, but just seeing him in that picture that, you know, I'll show it one more time. This just depicts who he is. He's just his action, right? Like, I know this is probably in the warm up and that, but look at, if you could see the eyes in stretching and taking that picture, it's intense, as you mentioned.
Even the picture you had with him in Florida, you just watch that. It's he's intense. He's very intense, and having the opportunity to play, and you know, he's got Bobrovsky in Florida, but I'm telling you, when Driedger gets a chance to play, man, this kid can play.
Well, I'll tell you what, we really liked and really loved the fact that he came on 3 occasions. Hopefully we can get him back for the 2021. And you know what? Tomorrow we got a great show, but we have the keeper of the cup.
Phil Pritchard, yeah.
Phil is coming on.
Should be great. Florida gets the Islanders, right? If I'm correct, they've got the Islanders in that first 3 out of 5.
I think I saw that too. It's been so crazy that we kind of were on that for a while. Now that it's really close, we got to get back. We'll do. You know what? Before we have Phil on tomorrow, we'll talk about where we're at. Yeah, because they're going to vote tonight.
Yeah, they get their vote tonight. They're more than likely going to vote it through, and then training camp starts on Monday.
Yep, look forward to it. Hey, listen, as we get going, Barry Shelley's going to send us pictures of Ken Holland in net.
I did not know that.
You know what?
Obviously, he was a much better GM than he was a goalie.
We need white gloves for tomorrow.
Oh, want to do that?
Where the heck can we get white gloves? Who's got white gloves?
Dollar store.
All right, I'm going to look around. That's a good idea.
That was my brother.
Your brother's sharp. He should be. You know what? Val's really busy. He's doing a bunch of stuff for us right now for Paramount Sports Management, one of our sponsors. So he's really, really tied up. We're going to have to get Steve to be our producer.
Cool.
Or color man.
I'll figure out some way to get white gloves to you and me tomorrow.
All right, I'm working on that. All right, Paul, great show again. Listen, glad that you're feeling a lot better. We look forward to talking with you tomorrow with our buddy Phil. Let's get our white gloves ready. We'll be talking all about Stanley. And who's the captain of Winnipeg? He's just going to see. You can just be holding the cup up like that.
You've held the cup up with all the things you've done with the cup. Have you held it?
I have not. I think it would be. I think it would be sacrilegious for somebody that hasn't won it.
People say that too when we were in the Olympics too. I don't want to touch this. I don't want to touch that. It's got nothing to do with it. You can do it. You've been around the game long enough that you can do it.
No, I know, but I think that you earn the right to do that over your head. I have been with the cup, of course. One of the times we had the cup down with Tony and myself, Norm Flynn. It was down in the. I think Phil Pritchard was there too. I'm going to look to see if I can find that picture. We had it in a room and it was laying in the bed. So I'll find out if I'll look for that picture. That's as close as I've got to raising the cup.
Have you heard, just last thing as we're getting close to 5. Have you heard anything updated from Eddie Shack? Because, we talked about it yesterday and I've heard some conflicting things that he is in the hospital, but not in palliative care. I don't know. Have you heard anything?
Brian Aaronsworth brought that point up yesterday. I know it was kind of going back and forth. I do not know. So I will, I think we should do that. We'll give an update on Eddie Shack, clear the track.
Maybe we should reach out to Ken Reed. I think Reeder's a really good buddy. He wrote his book. Just to ask him.
Great idea. Let's do that. And listen, Gouche can only lift his Gouche Live Cup over his head now. Look at that. You're absolutely right.
Aaron,
thanks for the vote of confidence, Aaron. He's just throwing barbs at me.
Probably because now he's doing his push-ups, so he thinks he's in physical shape. Was he up to 1,000 push-ups a day now?
Hey, the kid's looking good, but look at this one. He's jabbing you.
What?
Mercedes Studio tomorrow?
No, it's just not working, man.
All right, kid. All right, Paul, you have a great night. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. And you've been watching Gouche Live featuring Paul Rosen, brought to you by the good people at the Hockey News.
And the great people at Paramount Sports Management. Anything you need, you call Jeff Armroll. You'll get the best ice in the world.
Or you can get to drive the Zamboni. Hey, listen, do you know who sang this song? Let's play some hockey. Kind of a nifty tune, eh?
Yeah, I don't think it's really singing though.
Well, there's a song that goes after.
Oh, okay, then I don't know.
Have you heard it? Yeah,
no, I've never heard the song. You got to play it.
Alan Frew. It's called the Hockey Song, and he wrote it for.
Yeah, you've never played it. You've only told me about it.
All right, tomorrow we're gonna play it.
All right.
All right.
Sounds good.
See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow, bud. Love to home.